Welcome to Gamepinions episode 42. I'm your host, Calvin, and today I'm joined always by Kim.
Hi.
Today we're also joined by the master of the interwebs himself, Decotor.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
And then we're also joined by the guy who's running around town buying up all the toilet paper and diapers in bulk, John.
Bubblegum KK is the best song.
So guys, it's been a long time since we have convened, and it's actually the first time ever that we're having four of us record at once, so this is guaranteed to be pretty insane. So I guess we can kind of start this off by asking everyone how they're handling this pandemic. I know last time we talked, it was kind of when this whole thing kind of first started. So Kim, how are you holding up?
Well, as you know, I love Chef Boyardee, so I'm the girl who's buying all the Chef Boyardee in the store.
Compulsive buying in bulk.
And you know what? I'm not the only one, because they did put a limit to 2, and I only have like about 8 cans anyway. So I wasn't the one who bought them all. FYI. Okay. But I've been dealing with it, and it doesn't really change anything for me much. Like, this is kind of like my normal.
Okay. All right. How about you, Dakota?
Yeah, going on 3 weeks of working from home now, so getting a little sick of being inside, but it is what it is. I've had a chance to at least keep the apartment super clean, which is nice, and fiance Ashley is off from work, so I've been seeing a whole lot of her, which is pretty nice, so it could be worse.
So she is off from work?
Yeah, she's off from work until at least the 18th, and then after that, I'm not sure.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty cool. How about you, John? How are you handling the pandemic?
Unemployed right now, so I'm just kind of handling it. Games, Warzone, everything.
It's not the same anymore.
It's not the same anymore. No, it's fine. I mean, I'm a shut-in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, really, the only thing that has changed for me is I can't really go out to eat, which was an activity I quite enjoyed. And which actually is probably better for my health, honestly. And another thing is, like what Dakota was saying, working from home has been really weird. Like, it's nice to be able to sleep in late and then just walk over to your desk and then just start working, I guess. But after work, having all your work stuff take up your desk space, which used to just be dedicated to playing games and doing, other stuff, that's kind of been a little crappy. Like, I don't like having, like, all of my worlds combined into one and it's all taking place on the desk. So that's a little bit weird. I feel bad for, the people at home that have to handle me on the phone with, different people throughout the day, and they have to, like, be quiet and they can't really enjoy their days. So it's been really, really strange. I will say, though, I'm actually really impressed at how well everything is kind of still functioning, though. Despite being away from the office, it's just kind of showing that all this stuff is still possible to do, which is kind of neat. So I've been kind of enjoying that from that aspect, I guess. But of course, we're all very, fortunate because we all play games, and this whole situation has really shown that gaming is just such a top tier, like, medium. I mean, like, if there was a situation, obviously, where something occurred and all the electricity was out, then things would probably be even worse. But, while we still have power and all that, and that's not, a concern, gaming has just kind of proven that, because you can stay at your home and do it, you're not at any danger. You can just enjoy it. So it's been kind of cool to see that kind of, help people stay sane during this time.
Although it did kind of prove, too, that maybe we need to go outdoors more once this is over. Maybe we do need to go out and about a little bit more for our health. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like staying at home, but occasionally, like, on my weekend, like, going out on a Friday was nice, or if I wanted to go to the gym, and now I can't do any of that, so
yeah.
I've been trying to run a little bit, like, around the neighborhood, which is good, just to get kind of some air after work.
Mm-hmm.
But things like, like the Phillies home opener, I was looking forward to, that got canceled.
Yep.
So it's kind of been inconveniencing. And I know a few people, like, that we know, the weddings have been postponed.
Ooh, that's rough.
We're supposed to get married in, like, May and June. We had a few friends. So it stinks, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a crappy part of it.
Yeah, our one friend just announced yesterday that they're pushing it back. Like, I think they were getting married end of June, and now it's in February.
Oh, my God. That's pretty drastic. I mean, that changes...
Yeah.
That has to change kind of the whole scenery, right? If it's in a completely different season.
Yeah, I would imagine. I guess now they're doing like a winter wedding. They said it's all at the same place, but yeah, it would be totally different than I guess what they had original.
That's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. It's just weird, like how it's not really. It's affecting a lot of people, but in very different ways. And it's just like the certain things. It's like, I mean, if you schedule things for this part of the year, like it's just super, I guess, bad luck that this just occurred. But I guess we'll go ahead and we'll move on to some more happier things. And I guess we'll start off with probably the biggest news that came out of this week in terms of gaming. Now, back when we were recording our NASCAR bonus episode, at the end of the podcast, we were super hyped up about this, Sony press conference that they were going to be holding. And we're like, we're going to see the console. At least I did. I'm not going to throw you two under the bus, Dakota and Kim. But I was like, oh, we're going to see what it's like. This is our last day without knowing what it's going to look like. And it didn't really turn out to be that way. So we actually didn't end up recording. Not that like SSDs aren't cool, because I love solid state drives. But it's not really super exciting to talk about. And
it was so dry, and it didn't seem like it was geared toward the consumer at all. It seemed like it was strictly for like developers. Like, I don't know. I started to watch and I was like, man, this sucks. But yeah, I guess that's it's not what they were going for. But
yeah,
Got to be more of a nerd.
I'm more of an
yeah, pretty much.
I'm more of an aesthetic person. I like to see how they've designed it, because honestly, it's going to be how you market it too, and that part has a big play in it. Like, if compared to how Xbox said it looked kind of like a trash can, and it's going to play a huge part in how it looks. And I was really hoping that we'd get some, really nice images of how the concept and design came apart. That's important too, to give those people credit for the console coming out. And I just feel like that's not being given attention at all. Now, sure, the specs, it's great. It's cool. Thanks for that info, because they did go over how, I guess, in depth you can get with this, just all the details. We get it. And at the end of the day, people are going to pin those little tiny differences against each other when it comes to the console wars. But I am a person that I want that image slapped in front of my face. I want to know who created it. I want to know how it's going to look in my room. I like pretty things. I like shiny, cute, pretty things. And I want to see more color besides black consoles and white consoles and gray and maybe gold. I want to see some of those classic colors, some different editions coming out. I want to be able to be given options for that, but they just basically give you a presentation of all the insides,
Yeah, which, serves a purpose. Probably not so much for us, because that stuff doesn't really matter too much to us. Obviously, when it's functioning and it's all put together in a nice package, and we're not really thinking about what's powering what, it's good in that way. But not really super exciting. So fast forward to this week, we finally see something physical about the PlayStation 5, which is the controller itself, called the PlayStation. I believe it's the DualSense. Is that correct? Pretty sure it's DualSense.
I was staring at it too hard. I don't really know what it was called. There's something about it.
Yeah, and it's basically, I'm sure everyone that's even listening to this has seen it already, but it's basically just kind of a move away from the typical DualShock that we have seen variants of since really the original PlayStation. DualShock 4 being the biggest one that kind of moved away from the original form factor, but still kind of maintained it in a similar kind of way. This one's just more probably closer to like the Xbox One controller in terms of ergonomics, but it's also like a two-tone design, which has been kind of not really been received super well from a lot of, I think, core PlayStation fans. I think, Dakota, you were talking about how people were upset about the stick placement still, which personally I don't really understand. Because I'm used to that.
I am too. I feel like I've had every PlayStation console, and I feel like a lot of people that have a PlayStation probably had a PS2 or PS3. I know some people kind of made the switch from 360 to PS4 from that generation, but I've never had an issue with it. But I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe it's because that's what I'm used to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. John, are you upset with the stick placement?
I've been used to it. Obviously, the PS3 to PS4 jump was the biggest one in terms of just the stick itself, but placement-wise, I've just been used to it. It's not It hasn't really been the best, honestly. But I'm just used to it, so I just kind of go with it.
Yeah, to me, it's something of comfort. I'm just used to that format. And, I've played Xbox, and that controller is just, I think it's fine. I do like them being different. I think it helps, distinguish what console you're playing on. I don't know, for whatever reason, though, the two sticks being down, down at the bottom, I just kind of prefer that format. Now, if we're talking about pure ergonomics, I thought that the best analog stick placement was actually the Wii U Pro controller with both analog sticks up top. I know people hate that because you have to reach down for the buttons, which wasn't the best. But that was the most comfortable.
Yeah, the stick itself wasn't that great, though.
No, it wasn't.
And I do feel like people are also comparing that controller to the Xbox controllers because of the girth it looks like the PlayStation controller now has. I think it's supposed to be more comfortable in your hands on the edges and on the sides, as you see. And maybe there's even some girth below it and underneath it to help it be held in your hand easier. As to how big that girth, how drastic that controller size is going to change, I don't think they're going to go too far. I think they just probably packed on a little bit meat on the side, But the 360s and the Xbox controllers have always been very large. And I think as soon as they saw the PlayStation controller look a little bit more, a little chunkier on the sides, I think the comparison started, to roll in a little bit more, which I have no problem with if they're trying to design it to be more comfortable for your hand.
Mm-hmm. It's very odd, though, because, from head on, it looks like a really big, beefy controller. I think that it's really misleading because of the different colors that are on there. I think that white kind of makes it look a little bit thicker with more space. And it's the same thing with the clear buttons. I think that kind of makes it look like there's more room than there actually is.
Now, if you go into Discord, I sent a GIF that kind of has an overlay, and you can kind of see just the difference between the two, which I can't really say it's much of a difference. Just go and check it out, and you'll see just... Yeah. How much of the difference is mostly just the shell itself.
Yeah, I mean, like the shoulders look a little bit wider, which I think I'm okay with. It looks like the part where your hand is too is a little bit wider. I don't have a problem with bigger controllers. Like I
don't either.
For me, like if you pick up a PS1 controller, is that more comfortable than like a DualShock? Like when you have to really grip it like a claw? I don't know. I kind of like the bigger myself, but
I think so too. And the thing is, though, is that people consider the Xbox controller like the best controller, since the 360, and then moving on to the Xbox One. That's kind of almost widely accepted as one of the more comfortable controllers to hold. And this doesn't look any bigger than that. So I don't really see it being a concern at all.
It's a very slight adjustment, I think, that they've made, and I don't think we're going to really see or feel that kind of difference that much, to be honest with you. The 360 to me was the most comfortable controller I've ever held, personally. And when they went to the Xbox One controller, it definitely increased in size, and I have tiny hands. So I can notice the differences with my hands a little bit more, I feel like, because I have really little baby hands. So everything they do to it, I feel like I feel the difference. So the 360 to me was the best, and I'm really hopeful for this controller because it doesn't seem to have changed much from the original PlayStation. I think the color scheme obviously is playing a key fact to it, and I also feel like maybe the bumpers have been adjusted upward just a little bit, which I don't see as a problem, especially since
looks like they're raised more.
Yeah, and that can be deceiving too, because underneath you never know the angle they're going at, underneath the controller. So, but I am hoping it is slightly more girthy, to be honest.
Yeah, and I will say from a sideways view, if you guys have saw like the sideways shot of it, the shape does resemble more of a DualShock 4. Like it looks similar to a DualShock 4 than it does the Xbox controller. So that's kind of important to note too. And actually, when comparing controllers, I think it actually looks a little bit more similar in form factor. Now, they're all kind of similar, but I think the overall shape looks more similar to the Switch Pro controller than the Xbox One controller.
More angular.
Yeah, I think there's, the grip seemed to be a little bit more closely resembled, in terms of that. Now, there's a lot of cool, exciting features that this controller has, and the one that I'm most excited about is just because I like everything being uniform, is the USB-C connection, which is which is just becoming standard now. So I'll be honest, I hate that the PlayStation 4 used that the micro USB cable. I think those things suck. They always go bad. It's just a terrible connection. So I'm really excited about USB-C being incorporated.
Now, something that I also would like to kind of note about the controller is the colors for like the button pressing and so on and so forth. I mean, if they're going to eliminate having colors for the buttons themselves, I know this is really funny, but the only way I could remember my buttons when I was younger, at least even on like the Xbox, was the red button. Like when I was little, just press the red button. Even though it was B, it's pretty easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
I still have I connect that kind of color with the button, and especially when playing the game, if that color came up, I kind of knew what button to press. I don't have to read that button, that letter. Something for me, I take that in easier. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they don't get rid of like colors on the buttons, or if they make an addition with colors, because I am that child that needs that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I don't know why. I just can connect it easier with in-game experience and the buttons. It's just something, it's a user preference, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely good with recognition. Now, I think me, John, and Dakota, because we play a lot of the sports games, a lot of those are, reliant on knowing the X and the all those buttons, because you have to make the actual play in real time. Do you guys have a issue with the lack of colors on the buttons?
No, I don't at all. I mean, I could tell you the colors off the top of my head fairly easily, but again, I've had every PlayStation. So for me, I don't have an issue. I guess if you're new to the console or the controller, if there's any games that have like a quick time event, it might be a bit of a learning curve. For me, though, it's no issue. And I would imagine most PlayStation players, it won't be an issue.
Mm-hmm. How about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, for experienced gamers, you're not going to pay attention. I mean, literally, hold control in your hand, close your eyes. It's supposed to feel good. You're not really going to be looking at it. It's a controller.
yeah, for most experienced gamers, yes, definitely. If they want Xbox fans or people from other consoles, I don't know. I grew up on Xbox, so there was no reason why I couldn't memorize them. But of course I did. And then even communicating it, sometimes it was easier to say the color for me. So I personally hope they come with one with color for some odd reason. I'm that kind of nitpicker. But at the same time, I understand, like, if you're a gamer, you're going to know where the button is. If you've only ever owned a PlayStation, you're going to know the button.
Yeah.
Just
like you, I mean, you know the Xbox letters now and all that.
Yeah, I know every controller in the buttons.
It's the thing that I don't have a problem so much, in terms of functionality with the lack of color on the buttons. Just from aesthetics, I kind of don't like it. I think, to me, when you see the different buttons together with the different colors, I think it just kind of makes like a better looking controller, and it just makes it more, it feels more attached to the brand. And I think that, honestly, when they do release this controller, I think that PlayStation button that's in the center, I think that's going to have some type of color to it. And I think the buttons will have, the colored symbols. I think this was really just kind of like a rough shot, similar to the original, first time we saw a 3DS, the circle pads were all like the same color as the console. Later on, they changed that to make it, like a grayish color. I think they're going to do something similar, only they're going to put the color back into the buttons. So that's really the only issue I have with that.
Just aesthetically speaking, I mean, honestly, it's going to be great. I have high hopes. I know it's going to be a great system, great controller design. I think every single generation of console that's coming out has been a very big improvement from prior, except for, I would argue, I don't really enjoy the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it did go more the route of the 360 and the console was a little different, but they have been vastly improving, in my opinion. So definitely hoping for that reverse compatibility with some of our favorite games and other things that have been improved as well. So
yeah, Dakota, because I think, Dakota, I'd say you're probably the biggest PlayStation fan that is on here currently, because you've pretty much had all of them. When you look at this controller, what makes you most excited?
Well, so I have a spec list here, and I think the thing that probably jumps out at me is the adaptive triggers. I think that's pretty cool. So it has They said it has haptic feedback, which I guess similar to like what phones use, like for games.
Yeah, and the
like, to give you
Joy-Con, yeah.
that vibration almost. So from what the article that I was reading was saying was like if you're pulling a gun trigger or something, or like pulling a bow and arrow, you'll feel like a bit of resistance. So that's kind of cool.
Which is
I
cool.
thought.
Yeah, that is cool.
Other than that, honestly, what makes me excited is that they didn't try to get too fancy. It looks like it's a pretty safe option. I mean, they made some good changes in terms of functionality, but they didn't try to do anything wild. I kind of like my controllers simple. Like you don't need to redesign it. You know, they work as they do. So that was kind of my thing when I saw it. I was like, okay, yeah, this is a PlayStation controller.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now, how about you, John? Like, when you look at the controller, like, are you like what are you thinking? Like, are you excited about it? Are you more excited to see now that this controller is dual tone? Are you more excited to see if the console's going to take that same approach?
I just want to know how it feels in my hand. I don't care how it looks like. I need to look how whatever it looks like on the picture. I just want to hold it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm excited to have that in my hand for the first time too. I think what makes me most excited about it is that, I want to see what the console looks like now, because this is kind of a big step away from the typical DualShock when it used to just be all black, and now we're seeing like this weird, dual tone controller. Their consoles typically launch as just black consoles. So I'm just really curious to see what it's going to look like when, we finally do get to see that, whenever that is.
Are we getting a white PlayStation 5?
I don't know. I'm really not sure. I mean, I'm excited for the different color variants. There was some really cool mock-ups that I think IGN posted of a whole bunch of different just random people on social media that were, photoshopping these controllers, and some of the combinations look awesome. The all black looks really good.
The all black does look nice, yeah.
I'm sure we'll see that. I saw like a Mario one, which was kind of cool. They made like the analog sticks, like the buttons on the overalls. That was pretty funny. But there's a whole bunch of different variants. Like, red and black controller would look really cool. And of course, the console itself, with all these different colors that we could see in the future special editions. The dual tone controller is going to be really, really cool. And then, there's other features too. I think there's like a built-in microphone. I'm pretty sure they said there's like some kind of built-in microphone mute button or something. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a built-in phone with the microphone shut off built into the remote. So it
okay,
you can turn it so it won't pick up like voice commands, I believe.
That's pretty cool. That is neat. Which I'm surprised they haven't done that before. But I guess they wanted you to use that little headset.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even like voice controls primarily. I don't know if that's what it's geared towards, I guess. I never use it. I pretty much disable that right away. Or at least I just don't use it. But
yeah. Because I imagine that it would be used for voice controls, and I imagine you could probably take just a normal pair of headphones, because they did confirm that the headphone jack is back, so they're not going to force you to go all Bluetooth or, wireless.
Jack is back.
Yeah, it is back. It's going to be in the bottom of the controller, just like how the PS4 controller was, which is nice. So I think you can actually take a pair of normal headphones, though, plug that in, and just use the controller's mic. I can't imagine it sounding great because, you're slamming the buttons and moving the analog sticks right on it. So probably isn't the best option. But I mean, if you're in a pinch and, you went on a trip or something, you brought your console with you, you forgot your headset, well, you have your controller and you can use that. So you just have to find a pair of headphones, or just let your friend talk out of the TV speakers. So I thought that's pretty cool. That's a good, at least option for some people that maybe can't afford, the PlayStation and a headset. You kind of have a microphone built right in, which is kind of cool.
I have one minor nitpick. I do not like how the PlayStation button is molded to the shape of the actual symbol itself. I kind of just like the basic circle.
Ooh.
I don't like buttons.
Yeah,
that
I don't
do
like that either.
It reminds me of the Switch's plus and minus, where it's shaped actually like the plus and minus. I do not like that minus button. It's so tiny.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. Like, I understand why they did it for the Switch, because you have like really limited real estate. But even though, I mean, if you go up there, I mean, there's plenty of room. They could have added like, you know, a whole nother.
Just look at the 3DS.
Bigger
Look how
button
big
around
the
it.
plus minus was on that one.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I noticed that too. I wasn't really a huge fan. It didn't really click in my head though that I didn't really like it. But thinking about it, I don't like that it is shaped as the PlayStation logo. That's kind of weird. But of course, you know, they did re-add the touchpad again. So that, I mean, they've already confirmed backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 4. You know, this just, you know, pretty much ensures that it's going to be a lot easier, even though the touchpad is really underutilized anyway. But it's there, so
Actually,
I guess that's
honestly,
cool.
I forgot to point this one out too. The lights on the front now. I do not like. I absolutely hate that. I hope you can turn it off because you cannot turn off what's in the system on the PS4.
Yeah, you couldn't disable it on the PS4, which people couldn't stand. I honestly don't really mind it. Like, I actually never had a problem with the light. I mean, I thought it looked kind of, yeah, it made the controller look kind of cool because, you know, it was kind of more like a futuristic look.
It could be dimmer.
Back when it first was. Yeah, I think you should be able to disable it, but I think for some reason there was some kind of coding built into the controller that made it so the controller wouldn't function properly without the light, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, originally you couldn't even you couldn't do anything, but then they did an update that let you at least lessen it. Like you could turn the brightness down and conserve battery a little bit.
Yeah, and then people resorted to like getting stickers to put over.
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I
So you get, like,
personally did everything I could to make my controller have longer life. So, well, I mean, it's only two things. One, I turned down the, actually three things. So I turned off, or I didn't turn off. I dimmed to the lowest setting on the light. I turned off the speaker, and then I don't have vibration.
You don't like vibration?
It's not down. Well, it's more just controller battery life kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't.
Yeah, because it's
I jokingly just say PS4 is not really a wireless controller, just because
it's wire resistant.
Short it lasts.
Yeah, I had this one controller for PS2. Dakota, you probably remember this controller. It was that white EA Sports one. I think it was
Yeah, I
from
remember that.
Logitech. That thing's vibration was ridiculous. Like when I would play like NASCAR or Need for Speed, my hands would be numb at the end of the play sessions because the vibration would be so intense. I could not stand it, so I would always disable it after, you know, a few game sessions of realizing this is terrible. But Kim, I don't think I asked you what when you look at this controller, what is like the first thought that pops in your head? Like what makes you excited to see more?
I think honestly just how drastic they still are going. I mean, there's somebody looking at this too, and they're like, you know, they're deciding every single one of these details. And seeing how drastic they still came with this, the color scheme, the choices they chose, and going with both black and white on one controller, which is kind of daring too, because people like it. Either they have all white setups, all black setups. They want it to look just like every one of, you know, their other electronics in their house. They want it to match, you know, and yet they still did it. I'm kind of excited to see what the shape of this console is going to be. Are they going to give you another concrete slab and just decorate it black and white? Is it going to look like decals on there? I'm just kind of excited. It kind of reminds me of a pillow too. So like just seeing it is kind of comforting. It's like this futuristic little pillow in your hands. So that's what got me excited, was seeing that white around the edges and seeing how it made it look kind of curved in. And kind of seeing how it looks like it's going to be comfortable in your hand. It truly looks like it's going to be very comfortable.
It does look pretty fresh, which is nice.
I like, you know, for people who game for a very long time, how comfortable the controller is very important. And being able to feel like you're immersed in the game. And I don't know, I don't want it to hurt my hands. And this looks really cozy.
The biggest thing I hope for is I hope they make the battery life ridiculously long.
You see, I don't care. I sit so close to the screen, which I shouldn't. I don't care.
You don't mind if you just plug it in?
I don't mind if it's a wired. I'm that person.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope the battery life is extremely long. And another thing I'm kind of hoping for now that I guess we're going to kind of transition away from the PlayStation controller a little bit here. I do hope that because, you know, Sony seems pretty serious about the PlayStation VR, I hope they look into possibly replacing the Move controllers this generation with something that works better. I know, John and Dakota, you haven't really played the PlayStation VR. Is that correct?
Yeah, I haven't played it.
At E3 once. That's it.
The PlayStation Move controllers aren't great. Kim, you can probably attest to that too.
Personally, now I will say, in the VR community, it's probably the best that we have right now. Personally, I like them. However, they aren't the best, and I hope they get better. But I also would like to see, honestly, the wires.
Yeah,
If you have a small home, and you can say, a small space, there's no way. It's going to be so terrible to set that up.
Well, the PlayStation VR box in general is like the worst thing that mankind has ever created. It has wires going out of like every direction, so there's not really a way it can sit properly to make it like sit properly. And it's terrible. Like if you guys have seen the box, it's a nightmare. Like it's not elegant at all. And I don't know if putting everything on one side would really help it. Like it's very good, I guess, for visualizing because you have like an in and then an out is on like the other side, similar to like a capture card almost. But it sucks. Like it is the worst thing ever. And I would love for them to have some kind of wireless solution. But to me, the biggest issue besides the box and the wires is really the two Move controllers that you have to use. It's not that they don't work, it's just that they don't work extremely well. And it's just because, it's using really old technology. And you look at these other VR headsets that are out, the Vive and the Oculus, their controllers are just way more advanced. They're way more accurate. They feel a lot better in the hand. They're more, they're just way more precise. And the PlayStation Move controllers, you just feel like you are not up to par. But I will say, though, the actual headset, PSVR, is the best designed headset in terms of comfort and functionality. I think it's the best. I think it rests on your head way better. It doesn't feel like the screen is touching your eyelashes when you're playing, which is, I think part of the issue with the Oculus. For me, it just doesn't fit right on my head. But it's super comfortable. But they need to update those PlayStation Move controllers because they look terrible. They're almost borderline obscene, and I don't like them. So, yeah, that's just little PlayStation Move controller rant there. But I guess moving on from that, we have been playing a ton of Warzone. They just added quads recently. So how have you guys been enjoying that?
I can actually play with you guys.
I don't know.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, that fourth person isn't left out anymore, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, more of your friends could join, which is great, in my opinion.
Now, luckily, they left Trio back in, or left it in.
Yeah, why did they take that out anyway? That was weird.
Well, I don't think they split
Yeah,
the
that's-
user base. Kind of like how they do rotating modes. They want to kind of keep the player base together. So when you have too many modes, then you could
Okay.
have longer loading times. I guess, the longer that this game is out. Call of Duty always has a pretty good player base throughout its lifespan. But if you have like 5 modes, I guess, and then as the player base dips. But the subreddit for Warzone was in an uproar that night that it updated. There was like just thread after thread complaining, which is odd because quads have kind of been the standard. Like, really, the only game that did trios was Apex. And before that, everything was 4-player. Although there was most games had a duo mode, which this game doesn't. But
Yeah, which is kind of weird that it doesn't. Now, I remember there's been multiple times during this podcast, long before you guys have been on, the episodes, where I have continuously said that I'm sure that, if I took the time to play a Battle Royale game, I'd probably like it, but it was just not a genre that I was interested in. And I'm probably still not super interested in the genre. Like, I'd never play Fortnite, but it's also, each one of these games plays and handles differently. This one, because I do enjoy Call of Duty, it's actually really clicking with me, which is, kind of cool. And all it took was a pandemic for me to play.
yeah.
So here we are.
I kind of got into the Battle Royale, when it became popular. I played quite a few. This one's really good. I really do enjoy this. This is one of the ones that kind of encourages gunfights kind of early, some of the other games, like you could go PUBG and you won't get into a gunfight until 25 minutes in, and then you don't even get to fire your gun because you get shot from behind. This kind of encourages battles, which is nice. And I mean, with Call of Duty, you're always going to have that like nice polish. Like the game just feels good to begin with. So I think that definitely helps it too.
Yeah. Now we have been experiencing some super lag ever since this quad update came into play. And there was this one moment last night when we were playing where not only was the game lagging, like the actual, inside the game, but because our voices were attached to the in-game chat, we were lagging. So we would hear like bits and pieces of each other. At least me and Kim did on our end. Like we'd hear like John laughing and it would just be like, and then we hear Dakota say something, and it was hilarious. And we were moving like ridiculously slow. I'd be going like 10 feet forward, and then somehow I'm inside a house upstairs in like an attic, and I can't go anywhere.
It was kind of funny how we were communicating without communicating because we couldn't talk to each other during the 15 minutes that the game was going bonkers. But like we all went to the house, and then everybody kind of knew. They were like, "Oh yeah, like let's go in the house and let's wait it out." Yeah. And then like the storm was coming up, and the next circle went, and then we all ran out at the same time. Like everybody kind of had a good idea of like what to do.
Like when you get the hiccups, you just gotta wait it out.
Yeah. We hold your breath, go upside down, swallow, whole bunch of different stuff you can do.
Jump off a building. Just got teleported.
Yeah, there you go. It was scary. I think, John, you ended up killing somebody.
Oh yeah,
who downed me.
It took 10, like just count to 10, and that's how long it took for me and this guy who were standing right in front of each other to kill each other.
I honestly have no idea how you were able to kill him, and
it was luck.
I tried shooting him, and I was like, I'm not really here. And I have no idea where I am, and I don't really know where he is either. But somehow I died, and then now he's dead.
I think I might have the clip, so maybe I can send that one over.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know if the clip would help. I don't know if it would explain what happened.
Nobody wants to watch that.
From yesterday of the lag.
Oh my god, it was insane. It was absolutely insane. Maybe I'll plug that into the YouTube version of this podcast so people can kind of see. But I'm sure, there's like 50 billion people playing this game. Not 50 billion, but there's a lot of people playing this game. So I'm sure they were experiencing that since this update too. But it was unreal. I don't know if I've ever played a game where the lag was that intrusive to the game. Like I thought we were going to win because everyone would just leave. So I was kind of hoping for our first W there.
Yeah, the timeouts were ridiculous.
Yeah, I got the clip. I got the whole match.
Oh god, and the thing is though, is that I think Dakota, you went on like a rampage at the end, and it ended up being a pretty entertaining match.
Man,
we almost won. I think I finished with like 9 or 10 kills, which I'm sure there's people out there that get like 15, 20 kills, but 9 or 10 for me is a pretty good game. So yeah, it got a little hectic at the end, but.
Yeah.
That's what's fun about like this game. Like the end of it gets so high. If you make it to like the last 3 circles, if you pop a UAV, there's just 30 people around you. So it gets really intense.
Yeah, I think me and Kim, we were talking about today when during that last match you were up on like that hillside, and all of a sudden you just hear like a zoom. And it was just the bullet just went like right by. It's like, oh my god.
Oh, you're under fire. You got to run. You got the gas coming up. Like it's makes for an entertaining, and it's so devastating when you lose because the games are so long and there's so many more people in this one compared to most other games capped at 100. So you figure these matches are like 35 minutes long if you get to the end, and then you lose in such a devastating way, and it just ruins your night.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, though.
It is.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I really am.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun because, it's just every match plays out so differently that it keeps everything fresh. Like, and there's certain things, like you can start off in it being like really, really slow, and then all of a sudden like some crazy stuff just happens and you just are kind of forced into situations that, you didn't really want to get yourself into. And then other matches, it's like you land with a whole bunch of people, you end up either dying right away, starting over, or you end up killing everybody, and you have like a ton of great gear, and you end up dying somewhere else. So it's I don't know. It's really interesting. Like we had like that one moment when we're all in like the helicopter, and then someone launched like a rocket at us.
Oh, I got that.
It's like
clip
almost
too.
feels like in slow motion. It's just hilarious. So I've honestly been really having a good time with that.
I have to. Honestly, there's nothing that is better than coming across someone that wasn't expecting you and you weren't expecting them, so you both don't fire at each other because you're both surprised and you're like, what do I do? Like that
Yeah, you
second.
gotta pick your battle. Like, do I want to fight this guy right now?
Yeah, and you both run over to get cover and you're like just thinking for a second.
Yeah, it's cool because you apply different strategies to different situations, and sometimes you pick right and other times you just completely don't. There's just always kind of like an element of surprise because you don't really know if there's somebody coming up behind you or if there's somebody that is already in a building. But there's sometimes there's telltale signs. Like me, John, and Kim were actually playing a match earlier today, and we went over to this one building, and I knew we were kind of in trouble because we weren't super geared up as it was. And there was a running car outside the building, and there was open boxes. I'm like, I think we're probably gonna die when we go in here, and sure enough we did. But I think Kim was hiding under a desk for a little while.
No one noticed me. I dropped to the ground. I crawled under these two desks that you can't jump over. So I figured like no one's gonna be able to like. It's literally office desks.
Mm-hmm.
No one's gonna be in there trying to look into people's desks. I don't know, but you can clearly see under them. It was very obvious if you looked down. So I crawled under the desks, and I had this guy pass me like 5 times, and he just didn't know I was there. And I didn't want to shoot him because I wasn't prepared for rest of his team to come in and annihilate me because no one else was with me at that point. So it was pretty funny, and I just kept telling John, I think, don't come in here.
Yeah,
don't come get me.
John, you kind of got stuck on the outside. Like, I mean, there was really nothing you could have done to
I
save
stayed
yourself
outside
there.
at the edge of the gas until I had to move at some point.
Yeah, it was
God.
crazy in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many.
I just watching a
situations,
clip. I'm just like rolling through a clip of that game I have recorded. You had that missile launcher aiming at that helicopter.
Yeah.
I'm watching it. I watched. I don't think it hit the helicopter. They ended up jumping out, but I did not launch an RPG about like a mile away and ended up getting a hit marker on someone.
Well, there's that one where that guy was. Kim, you remember that when that guy was running and we were just all watching through our scopes, just seeing if that guy was going to end up jumping into it or not.
People watching as a missile comes to him. Like,
it's freaking hilarious. And I like the different tools that you can pick up. Like the drone is really cool, being able to kind of fly it around and mark people. It's really cool. I think it's just really, really well done. You don't have to worry about people building a skyscraper when you're on one-on-one combat and then you can't shoot him anymore, and then he builds like a bridge. And
that is something that honestly I prefer. If I'm going to play a game like this, a shooting game, I don't want crafting to be part of the multiplayer. I don't like it. I just don't like those genres mixing. So when Fortnite came out, I literally wanted to throw up. I was like, who invented this? But everyone likes it.
Yeah, Fortnite's
it wasn't for me.
You gotta just know the game. I don't like it. I never just got used to it, and basically you're at a disadvantage. I felt terrible playing it just because everyone knows what to do. They know the tactics behind building towers in front of your face, like shooting. So I can't really do this.
I tried it, and I also, for some reason, also don't like my shooting games to look like a cartoon. That honestly, to me, was like, no. It wasn't my cup of tea.
See, that
I like mine
aspect
more
is
realistic.
fine for so they can just run on they can run on Switch. You got really low end PC. They have it on phones now.
yeah, oh yeah.
And building a wall 50 times just for someone to keep shooting you who obviously has a superior weapon doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me. Like someone just builds a wall, builds a wall.
Well, it's a
builds
highly
wall, builds a
popular
wall.
game, so we're kind of just alone, just in that.
We're kind of the outcast of people who just don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
there's
Dakota
a
likes
big
it, though.
majority that don't like it. It's just like there's another big majority that just.
Yeah, I
that's
played a
the
lot of
user base.
Fortnite season, like pre-season 1 to like season 3. I played a lot, and then It just kind of got to the point where, like, if you didn't keep playing, like, the people that played that game that were really good, that was all they played. So you just got outmatched pretty quickly. But yeah, I did enjoy it in the beginning.
See, something like that doesn't bother me. It's just a preference thing. Like, I don't care if someone is better than me because I know, like, if I play it long enough, I'll learn it. I just didn't like it. I think it's just a preference.
Yeah, totally
like, you
fair.
know, it just wasn't something I wanted to take time to learn because it wasn't something I liked. But something like Call of Duty, I don't play Call of Duty at all. I hated Call of Duty. I was the anti-Call of Duty person all of my life, basically, because my little brother played the crap out of it. And then, you know, people are like, hey, play this. And I'm like, oh, God. And then I get on there and I'm starting to play it and I actually like this. This is something I can get behind. I'm not a big fan of Call of Duty and I have not been in the past like freaking 10 years, 12, 14, I don't know.
Call of Duty,
I've just never liked it.
It can get stale, but like Dakota said earlier, it just, like, over the years, they just so fine-tune it. It's just gotten a lot.
It just
know,
feels good.
mechanically?
Like,
Yeah, it feels good.
There's no shooter that compares to it, I feel like. In terms of feel, I'm not saying it's like the greatest shooter, but I think, John, you know, it's polished. It's just so
It's
polished that
polished,
it outweighs the other bad aspects.
Just animation.
It's been a
and
lot of
everything.
fun.
And they really tried with
Yeah,
this. Yeah,
it's been
they did the
fun.
developer diary showing how much effort went into the design of the guns, from like the smoke coming out of the barrel to the type of reloads. It was really neat. So
Oh, I just
Yeah,
love how the animations
definitely would
and
give
how
credit.
smooth everything feels now.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
if I was going to play a Battle Royale game, honestly, this would probably be the only one. I mean, I think that I really like this one. I don't know why, and I'm stuck at it, but I'm really enjoying, like, playing it. And I think if anyone who doesn't like Battle Royale games, if they just tried this one, it might be their cup of tea. You just got to play each different kind. You know, every single
Yeah.
one of these has been so different in a way that it's this new genre in a way. So I feel like you got to play each one to know what kind you like.
Yeah, see, this one feels like Apex Legends if Apex Legends was good.
Okay.
wow, harsh.
Apex
Jeez.
fans.
Apex to you.
I thought
The only-
Apex was fine. It was just mostly I
It
was
wasn't
waiting for something
bad.
like this, and then this finally came. Like, yep, this is the one.
Yeah.
The movement in
The
Apex
gunplay
was
in
really
this
good.
is so superior.
Oh, it is.
is.
Yeah, the gunplay I didn't like a whole ton. I like the movement in Apex. I think that did that gameplay really well. But yeah, I prefer this. I abandoned that game pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this one just seems like it's going to hold up longer. You know, obviously it's under a name that is known to make, you know, obviously these really good Call of Duty games, you know, even if they do get repetitive after a while. It's just, like you guys said, just a good experience. And I think this might have been kind of what I was waiting for too. Honestly, when this first released, I had no intention of playing it, but then you guys were kind of, you know, talking about it, and I was like, well, I can probably try it out. I mean, it's like Call of Duty.
I was the last on the boat.
Making it free went a long way too. I mean, I know you guys had the game already because
Yeah.
you know, we played the base game a little bit, but making Warzone free, I think, was huge to extend the player base.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the big jump, you know, and especially since all the cosmetics, it makes me want to actually invest in that kind of stuff for fun. And I just
bought
have
the
to tell
battle
myself,
pass.
no.
Yeah, the last
But
battle
yeah.
pass I bought was Fortnite because like no game kept my attention. But I'm like, yeah, I want to keep playing this. So
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's good to reward, you know, developers and publishers when they release something that, you know, is obviously, you know, of high quality, and if it's something that you can, you know, play for free, it's not a bad idea to toss a few bucks their way and, you know, kind of show your support. That's kind of things that I would do with Rocket League because, you know, we got that through PlayStation Plus. I always used to like to, you know, throw a few bucks in there and, you know, support them any way I could. So I kind of feel the same way. Obviously, this is a much bigger developer and bigger publisher, but, you know, the principle is still the same. I mean, this is a pretty good deal for not having to pay anything to play it.
Yeah, it's been a freaking hoot. I'm over here thinking if I get a different skin, maybe people won't notice me as much.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm super into it now. So definitely.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I guess besides Warzone, we have all been engrossed in Animal Crossing,
Oh boy.
New Horizons.
100+ hours.
Yeah. Kim's over 100 hours. I think I'm probably approaching it. John, are you over 100?
I think I'm at 100 now.
And Dakota, last I checked, you were around like the 40 marker, so you're a little bit chiller with Animal Crossing than we are. Now, because Kim, this is your first like full Animal Crossing, and John, you have played New Leaf. Dakota, you really haven't played an Animal Crossing game since the DS version. So how do you feel like this Animal Crossing compares to that one so far?
I like it so far. Yeah, what one did I have? The original DS. That was
You had
New
a
Leaf?
Wild World.
Wild World. Okay, and then I played a lot of that. Really enjoyed it. I had the one on the 3DS that I didn't really get into. I don't know what it was with that one. I just didn't really get into it. I played maybe 20 hours, if that. This one I really like. I don't know if it's just because it's a game that I can play where there's no set goal again, which is kind of what I liked about the original one. I could just kind of log in and do what I want to do and log off, and that's it. And it's just like playing before bed. Like, I went from scrolling on my phone for half an hour every night to just hopping on and going fishing or, digging up, messing with my town. I think it's pretty. It's so polished compared to like when you get a Switch game with this graphic and art style. It looks so good on the TV. It looks so good on the handheld.
It does.
I'm having fun with it. I enjoy it.
So, do you think that you're going to like continue to play this game throughout the year to get all?
Yeah,
the
I think
stuff?
so. I think so. Like this game, I'm not in a big hurry with because I know it's not like a fast game you just beat. Like the longer you play, the more rewarding it is when everything starts to come together. So that's kind of the pace I'm at now. Is I log in, I do my daily stuff. I'll check the shops, and then I log off, and then maybe I'll log back in later, and I'll I'll farm some fish or try to catch some bugs. But
Yeah.
I think this is really unique too. The Nook Miles with the cell phone, I probably spend more time doing anything than that because it does kind of guide you in what to do, so you're never lost. Even though you can kind of do whatever you want and there's no goal per se, it kind of can guide you to like, okay, I want to get this, so now I got to go do this.
It is really cool that they included that, and I think it is pretty creative. It's almost like an in-game achievement system almost. Instead of trophies, you're getting these points that you can redeem and improve your island or go to a different island or redeem it for some clothes or some various other furnishings and structures that you can put in your town. So really cool. Now, John, what do you think of this game compared to New Leaf? Because that was a game that both me and you put a ton of hours into.
It's different, but it's not in the bad way. It might be in a good way. I still have to give it time. Animal Crossing, you don't really get to see everything until you played maybe like a year. Not in gameplay time, but just like a whole year because it's a day-to-day game. I like the fact that it's more catered towards like crafting stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, sometimes it gets annoying. There's some certain furnitures where I'm just thinking, why did they have to make this a crafting one? Or it's like, why can't I craft this one?
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's been good. It's been really good. I mean, obviously, by my 100 hours. Yeah,
obviously you're enjoying it quite a bit.
I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of things they took out from New Leaf, but based on an interview with one of the developers, it's supposed to be different, but that's how all of them been. New Leaf had, let's see, what was the biggest change going into New Leaf?
Probably just
city?
being the mayor, right? I mean,
being the mayor, that was the biggest part. You can actually put stuff down, build stuff. And
that was kind of like a precursor to this one almost.
Yeah. So New Leaf kind of built upon, besides the whole mayor aspect, it kind of just built upon just more things, more stores, more furniture. Eventually got the Welcome Amiibo update. I don't know if you ever played that one.
I didn't.
That was a huge update. It came late into its life, but it added just tons of new furniture. I don't know, maybe like a quarter more of it.
Which is pretty neat. Which, I mean, I'm assuming they'll continue updating this game as well.
Oh, yeah. So this is going to be a big update. Since now updates are the norm for everything now, it's going to get a lot of updates.
Yeah, which is really cool. Now, Kim, you've poured the most amount of hours into this game, and you didn't really play a ton of New Leaf. You kind of got on that New Leaf wave way after it came out. So how are you enjoying the game so far?
Well, there's, obviously, I really like how fresh it is. Obviously, it's a new Animal Crossing, so everything looks very crisp, clean, and really pleasant. It's very updated, obviously. As far as the background music, that gets really tiring. I hope there's a setting I can change that they implement where I can maybe just, I don't know, just play any song that's in game, but as my default background song, if that makes any sense. I'm not a huge fan for some reason. I probably shouldn't be playing it as long as I I have been playing it, but it gives me kind of a headache after a while, but that's okay. As far as how fun the game is, it's still a lot of fun. Being able to change almost absolutely everything is something of like, I get to play home, I get to go change everything that I don't like, which is amazing. Like, you get control and you get to just alter a lot of things. Sure, I guess it's not everything, but it is a lot of things, and it makes me very happy. When you're in the house, you can actually look around, so you can see what your furniture looks like from the side on a wall instead of just seeing the side of your piece of furniture. You actually can tilt the camera and take a look at the furniture that's been placed in the room, which I found really cool, and I kind of wish you can do that when you're outside. I want to look around. I don't want to be stuck in just those 2 camera angles after being teased inside the house with all of it.
Yeah, I think that when I'm inside the museum, which is completely beautiful in this game.
Definitely.
Like, that museum looks awesome. There's no way they built that in one night. Like, it's complete BS. But it looks amazing.
Don't underestimate Blathers.
Yeah.
It's hiding on the ground the whole time.
It probably was. It just kind of rose up. But it was, there's certain areas inside that museum. I wish that you could kind of move the camera around and look around a little bit, because, I mean, it's very pretty. It looks great in there. So that's a little bit disappointing.
Something that is odd is he starts from a tent, and then he just unleashes a, spoiler, Coliseum. Like, it came from a tent, and then he built literally everything up so big, so fast. I don't know, maybe I would have liked to be teased with another stage, and then you donate like a certain amount, and then it expands again. But once again, I like seeing how pretty it is, and I like seeing how fast it is, because people with not a lot of time to do those kind of activities, you get to see something really cool really fast, and it's really relaxing.
See, and I have to wonder if at some point we will receive an update where that upstairs actually becomes something. And by something, I mean like a painting area, because as of right now, that upstairs is kind of pointless, and we haven't heard anything about Crazy Red being in the game yet. And, the whole painting aspect of the game has been absent so far, both with, counterfeits and, the actual real paintings and different statues that you'd be able to donate to the...
I don't think I collected any, I don't think I finished that collection. That one was really tough.
It's hard. It's really tough. And which is kind of surprising they took it out, but I mean, that was kind of that was the most difficult one to do. So I hope at some point they add that back, because that was kind of cool, like having like a black market where, this, crazy villager, not really a villager, but this crazy character is just selling counterfeit.
Let's call it what it
stuff.
is. He was a criminal.
Yeah. Maybe he's in jail. I don't know.
He should be.
Surprise!
Ripped me off one too many times, Red.
He gave me Chuck E. Cheese tokens instead of bells when I paid a little bit too much.
Well, the saying, better red than dead?
Yeah.
I kind of wish that
It's other
with
way around.
flowers, like flowers grow, which is cool. That's great. You can water them, and then you can have crossbreeding, which I get. But if we can have a turnip lady come and be like, you want some turnips for a profit? Then why can't we have a flower girl where we could sell our flower pickings for a little bit more? Like,
that's true.
Why can't we have something like that? Where we could just sell our flowers and rarer ones, sell a little better.
Yeah, I do like how there's actually more visitors, it seems like, than New Leaf.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more people cycling through there. Certain characters that had shops in the previous game don't seem like they're going to have shops in this game so far.
Hope
So
for an
who do
update.
you have? Flick, CJ, Sahara, Kix. I don't know if it counts KK Slider. He's always been a thing. He comes every Saturday.
Yeah.
He came today
Label.
Friday, so I don't know what's up with that.
I thought he used to come Friday nights in Wild World. But I don't know. I can't remember.
But not to spoil too much, but I haven't seen much more to the point where I got in the game. I don't see a lot more shops opening, and I really hope there are more shops. I'm trying to be vague so I don't spoil anything, but as far as I could tell, I feel like I've progressed all I could when it comes to shops being open in town.
At least for now.
And I'm glad that you can have 10. I definitely am glad you can have 10 people, like 10 residents, living on the island, which is really cool. Because I think previous game you could only have like 6 or 8 or something.
Mm-hmm.
8 in
And-
New Leaf, I know.
Yeah, so now that we can have 10, I can have more people. It feels more like a little town that's developed, which is really cute.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping that, with, more updates and so on and so forth, they do put more in the game, especially over time, which I'm sure they will.
Yeah, in my game, I actually have crafted. I put all the houses in one area, and I crafted this giant. It almost looks like an electric fence, and I named my character Cal Exotic, and all my villagers are are all in the fence. I feed them like the scraps that Nook Cranny leaves. It's great.
I would like to point out, too, I'm sure everyone else has kind of noticed this, too, but even though I didn't play much of New Leaf, it definitely feels like people are more bland. Like, the dialogue isn't
It is.
interesting.
The dialogue's worse. The dialogue's worse, the
sucks.
music's worse.
The music just is really disappointing because that was one of my favorite parts about Wild World and New Leaf in some areas too. I thought the music was still pretty good.
Just listen, compare, I don't know if you can remember this, but just go sometime, YouTube, 3 a.m. Compare that between New Leaf and this game. And you can see a huge difference in the quality.
It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, and I kind of wish that the characters were a little bit more interesting, maybe with some more of their own catchphrases or a little bit different. I get they have different personalities, sporty,
They had catchphrases.
happy.
I remember, you used to be able to actually tell them stuff and they'll remember it. I don't know if you still can. Can you still do that? Do you ever ask for new catchphrases? Because I haven't had anyone.
I
ask.
haven't had that. Have you, Kim?
I have been called a nickname. Subscriber is my new nickname, so every time
Mine's
I approach
Highway.
Highway. Hi, Highway. I'm subscriber. Hi, subscriber. Yeah, thanks. You live in my island, so you're my subscriber. But besides that, it seems like they don't have enough interesting things or different dialect or, okay, they have personality, but they don't really talk too much different.
Yeah, I haven't seen them super mad or anything yet either. When they used to be walking around the town super pissed off.
Oh, I've already had 3
I've found
different fights.
You have? I haven't seen that. All my
I've had a
villagers are
villager
super
cause
nice.
all the problems, so I might kick her out.
Same. I've filed a complaint I think 3 days in a row. Still
Feed it
hasn't
to the
gone.
tigers.
Stop. No, but I've actually interrupted them talking, which I find that really, really cute, is that they'll be talking and you can actually interrupt their discussion
Yeah.
and kind of join in. And that's been pretty cute. And you can see who has a problem with who. I get that. Then when they get mad, I've had my girl with a little red face. It's Maddie. And she just doesn't, for some reason, like Gail. And so she's like, she doesn't understand me. And she'll stomp around all huffy. And that's all she's just upset. She gets mad. She's like, Gail just doesn't
I had one
understand
villager
me."
just get upset twice about villager or neighbors spoiling stuff for her. It's like, well, you should never leave the house.
Just stay in your room.
It is
Hey, well,
cute.
someone got me to give me a recipe for a jail bar, so I might just do that.
Wow.
I'm gonna make a jail.
I'm scared.
I think when Kim was over your town, John, someone taught her how to make a gravestone.
Yeah, I went to John's town. I popped into someone's
That's the
house.
first
which-
I'm hearing of it.
This is cool. This is cool. You can learn things from other towns, which I hope you have that opportunity to. So I popped over to John's. I went into this girl's house. I don't even remember who she was. And I went to her workbench and she's like, I got this really cool thing I want to teach you. You can make a gravestone or something. And I was like, oh, that's great.
You're gonna
Yeah,
need
so
this soon.
talking to people is a little more encouraging now.
Yeah, to see what they're
but
up
the dialogue's
to.
worse, so I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've had this one teddy bear guy.
Yeah.
It's weird. There's gonna be one of these
Stitches?
guys, and your guys is weird. No, it's Teddy. His
Yeah,
name's
he's like
Teddy.
a big bear. He's not like a
He
little bear.
shows
Oh,
up
okay.
in every new villager's house the first day they move in, or every morning.
Yeah, when he
He's there
leaves,
in
they're
the morning.
pregnant. It's weird.
Will you stop? No. But he's
I
like
didn't know that
literally
was in
hitting
this
on
game.
all my
Whoa.
chicks.
Yeah, you can crossbreed your neighbors.
Stop it.
You gotta put the houses in the X shape.
No.
You'll spawn other houses.
Already doing it. There's already a
delivers
baby
the baby.
kangaroo in my town. I think you have to.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Is some mixture of a bear cat walking around my town.
It's a liger.
And
I actually got a villager spawn at the cat because I have Amiibo cards, so you can just choose literally whatever neighbor you want.
You need to send me the Stitches one, please.
I've been looking
don't
up
think I have
ones,
that
too.
one, but I mean, I could get it.
Yeah, I intend to get me specific ones because I'm sorry, I don't like Frida. Frida has caused problems in my town.
She's a
Frida
hamburger
was
lady.
really sweet. Frida gave me the most present. She's talked to me the most, whatever. But then she
Frida
started
pie?
actually fighting people. She's like literally, she's like, I don't like the way you talk to me, or something to my other person
just,
that moved
Just
in.
start hitting her in the head with a net.
I'm like, Frida, will you stop? And I gave her outfits and stuff, and she still was causing problems.
Oh yeah, no one cares if you do that in this game.
I know, and I have a theory that if you give them an outfit or a clothing type, you get a clothing type back. Or bells. If you give them a piece of furniture, I think they give you a furniture piece or decoration piece for your house back too, or bells. I think that's what's happening. So I'm going to test that theory
Speaking-
out.
Speaking of furniture, can we talk about the biggest change in this game?
Yes.
Is that you can now put furniture outside. That's
Which
the
is
game changer
awesome.
right there.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, decorating the island is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Kim has been doing a lot of that. John, you've been doing a lot of that too.
I've been doing a lot of that. Also, I did find out the terraforming tool has you know how you can put down paths? Well, I did not know that the tool also included paths that are, you can also put patterns. So I spent my whole time putting down just patterns on the floor. Then I realized, or I just found out, I might have to just erase all of them and do it all over again with the path tool.
I didn't want to ruin that for you because I unlocked that really soon. I try not to tell Calvin anything because I want him to get to those points. But yeah, like when I discovered that too, I had to erase literally every
you should have
path I
told me
did.
that.
I'm
Before I-
not going to spoil it. I'm not. I can't. I
She's had
worked
the heart,
hard.
too.
I worked hard on my town and I had to destroy it and rebuild it, which by the way, I've literally flattened my island by now and I have like a heart mountain
You
going
should
on.
just be like the dude who on Reddit who just decided he just doesn't want to live anymore or something. He took out all the ground. He turned everything into water.
It's a singular block now.
No,
He
okay,
lives in
mine,
a water world.
mine didn't turn out like that, but my rivers,
That's how you get Kappa to spawn.
I have, oh my God. So, sorry. I have like 2 bridges and 2 staircases and they cost a lot. And I am poor now. Like it's ridiculous. And they're pretty, but I kind of wish there were more options still. I don't know how to say that. Basically, I just kind of wish there was more variety, and I'm hoping that in an update or maybe by seasons or something, they have more for you to choose from, because it's kind of still limiting.
Yeah.
that make
it is.
sense?
It does. It does. Yeah, I have been enjoying a lot of like the outdoor decorating. I've been, enjoying putting, like lighthouses up and all that other cool stuff, and random couches outside. Like it kind of feels weird when you put like a leather couch outside and it's like raining outside and it's like this is gonna have like mold and stuff on it, but it's a little weird. But that is a really cool game changer, and it kind of makes pieces of furniture that in other games didn't really make sense to have in your home. It actually kind of gives them usage now, which is really cool.
Yeah, all that outside stuff. You kind of just have to make like mock rooms of just wallpaper. It looks like it's outside. It's like, it's all right. I think each room, I actually upgraded down 1.28 million in debt now. At that point, was I debt? I got the upstairs now, and that's actually the shape's a lot different. The side rooms are smaller. I know in the previous games, each room I think was exactly equal size, and then you can max out the size, and each of them
Yeah.
could have like a huge size. Well, this one's different now.
Yeah, it's a slightly wider. I have the upstairs and I have I have all the rooms. I'm on my final loan. And they're slightly
jeez.
wider. Like I know I told you I play too much. But they're slightly wider upstairs and they're slightly wider in the basement, and it kind of threw me off. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how to decorate now.
Yeah.
I
Wow,
reverted.
That's crazy.
So it's different. It definitely is different. I kind of wish that the black hallways were doors that you can make custom. Like you could just change that at Nook or whatever and just kind of give it like an overlay, like a little door opening sequence or something. But I can see how that messes up the floor space and where you're going to place things. I just kind of wish it wasn't a big gaping dark hole, because I don't know how to decorate my main entry at the moment. You know?
I kind of wish that there was no room transitions and you could just walk into the rooms.
So true.
Also world style.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
kind of how I mean, the Switch is obviously powerful enough to do that. So that is kind of
Stylistic choice.
Yeah,
Just keeping it consistent, I guess.
I guess. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely been really enjoying it. You know, it almost feels like, you know, they gave this game kind of like a Breath of the Wild, you know, flair to it in a way, because you have to craft your items and it's breakable. I know a lot of other games have that too. I just always compare it to
A lot
Breath
of games
the
are
Wild.
actually, speaking of that, a lot of games are going for that, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, it adds kind of like a, you know, a complexity, and, you know, it kind of keeps you in check. Like it just kind of adds, you know, a little bit of.
It's trying to get you, like, to keep you, like, have stuff to do
Yeah.
every day.
Pretty much, yeah. You know, you have to make sure you're gathering enough materials, otherwise you're going to be trying to find them every single time something breaks, which, you know, isn't ideal.
And heck, when you're trying to get more materials, you come across like random bugs and stuff, or
Yeah.
random encounters.
Mm-hmm. So it definitely, you know, kind of keeps you in check there. And, you know, it's something that, you know, is kind of annoying when your net breaks or your fishing pole breaks or, you know, anything like that. But at the same time, it's, you know, at the trade-off, you get to craft a whole bunch of other cool stuff as well. And it just, I don't know, makes the game feel different. And it's not like, you know, breakable tools completely, you know, are foreign to the Animal Crossing universe, because obviously the axes used to break in, you know, the previous games. So this is just kind of taking that and then, you know, maxing it out where everything can break, and, you know, it makes sense.
It makes you access that menu a lot more to understand what you're looking at too. So
Yeah. So it is really cool, and it's cool that, you know, as long as you have your crafting table, you can, or you know, even the town center is always open, so you can always craft things if, like, you know, a store is closed or whatever, you know, so you can still do things even after hours, which is nice. But yeah, so that's pretty much been, you know, what we've been doing during this whole pandemic. You know, Animal Crossing clearly came out at a really good time for, I think, a lot of people. It's been taking everyone's mind off the current events and current situations and keeping everybody busy. And yeah, we've pretty much, you know, doing like the whole working at home thing. It's kind of been, you know, making me not really want to be on my computer after work, you know, because you just spend all day in the same exact seat. So that's kind of been the reason why the podcast has kind of been, you know, not super active recently. But now, you know, that I feel a little bit more comfortable with working at home and all that, we're going to continue to be pumping out some episodes. And I know me, Kim, and Dakota have to update you guys on our NASCAR season that we're currently having, our bonus NASCAR heat seasons, or season that we're having. So we're going to have a separate episode for that. So definitely stay tuned for that. But, you know, it's definitely been interesting watching all the major podcasts have to record remotely, which is something that we're very familiar with doing.
Yeah.
So they kind of have been doing it different ways, and it's been really interesting watching that. And of course, you know, seeing iRacing take over the NASCAR season's been really cool. We have MLB The Show taking over the MLB season. It's been really cool. So, do you guys have anything else to add before we tune off?
Stay positive, stay calm, and we'll all get through this.
John?
Get ready for the PS5 to be just a big black box.
Dakota?
Carol Baskin killed her husband.
Oh. We're gonna have a Netflix series or something now.
All right, guys. Well, until the next episode of Gamepinions, just stay safe out there.